Keep up. I'm your host, Cynthia Dill. It's Thursday, December 4th, 2025. I'm in my Cape Elizabeth studio, and joining me after a whirlwind tour across the globe is one of our favorite guests, Lisa Simeone. Welcome home, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Cynthia. It's nice to be home, although, it's nice to go away too.
Yeah, and you had quite a trip. Like first the Queen Mary to
Yeah,
Fashion Week, and then London for 3 nights, and then Morocco. Wow.
yep.
What I'm
Yeah, it
hoping to
was.
do is, at least for starters, I'm dying to talk about Fashion Week on the Queen Mary too. I mean, I just
Yes.
can't. So paint the picture, paint the background
Okay.
before I
So the
pepper you
Queen
with questions.
Okay, the Queen Mary 2 is really the only transatlantic ocean liner in the world. And my husband and I had taken it 5 other times to get from the US to Europe. And then once we get to Europe, we go do whatever we want to do. But this time, it was a special transatlantic fashion week. I've been waiting years for this because they've had them in the past, but it's been a long time. And so this was a fashion extravaganza with designers Christian Siriano and Bob Mackie and supermodel Coco Rocha and speakers, lecturers, and runway shows. And the whole thing was like super fashion. So instead of going with hubby, I went with a bunch of girlfriends and we all dressed up and we saw the fashion shows and and went to the lectures and posed for pictures with Christian Siriano and Bob Mackie and drank champagne.
Sounds
And
fabulous.
it was
And made
wonderful.
your way across the ocean.
Yeah, it takes 7 nights. I mean, they can do it faster, but it's fun. So the Queen Mary takes 7 nights, 6 full days, and you go from the Brooklyn cruise terminal to Southampton in the UK, and then from there you go wherever you want to go. So some of us went to London, and then some others of us went to Morocco. But the fashion, I mean, it was really like we were just immersed in it, and we took so many pictures and we saw so many beautiful things. We didn't buy anything because it's all couture and none of us can afford couture. Although Christian Siriano does make some more affordable things, but they weren't the things he was showing on the ship.
Well, I mean, I really enjoyed seeing some of the pictures. And what struck me is that, you have kind of an interesting mosaic of a personality because, on the one hand, you're a political activist in some regards. I mean, you were busted at, Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street, basically. And then, and now doing advocacy for Democrats for informed about gender and women's rights. But then you have this other side of high, like opera and writing. So where does fashion is fashion political, or is fashion more art?
I've always looked at fashion as art, as another art form. And people who I do not think that painting or composing or writing or sculpting is any greater of an art form than fashion. Fashion is just, it's one aspect of art. It's expression, it's creativity, it's design, it's communication. I mean, I guess in a way you could say it's political. I don't really look at it that way. But yeah, everything in a sense is political. When we dress, we are communicating. That's just a fact. So when people, this is my favorite, when people get all snooty, which is the opposite. They think that those of us who love fashion are snooty, but they're the snooty ones because they say things like, "Oh, I don't pay any attention. I don't pay any attention to what I wear."
Yeah.
Bullshit. You do. You put something on every day. You must pay attention to it because even if you're putting on a black t-shirt and black jeans, you're choosing not to wear sequins, and that's a statement. You're
Right.
communicating something. So everybody is communicating something with what they wear. And sometimes it's very deliberate, very provocative, as with Tom Wolfe, the author, the late Tom Wolfe, who used to say, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm sure I'm going to get the exact quote wrong, but it was something about, it's not that it was armor, but he used his clothing, which he was always very dapper, like extremely dapper, as a way of provoking people. There's another word that I'm just not, it's not coming to me, but I used to know this quote off by heart. But the point is, he used it as a way to communicate, as we all do. But other than that, it's just fun. Like for me, it's fun, and I'm finally at a point in my life where I can afford really nice things, and damn it, I'm gonna get them.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to post these pictures when I publish this podcast. So So I'm going to
I'll
describe
send you
it.
more because I have
Photo.
to send you more.
You'll know the photo I'm talking about. There's a picture of you in a gold kaftan, uh, with, 2 men on either side of you, and it is just such a stunning and fun photo. So first, and so describe, please, using the vocabulary that you know better than me, your outfit, because it was pretty, like, I would say killer.
Oh, thank you. I do love that. It's a caftan. I do wear a lot of caftans because I think they're incredibly romantic and feminine and very comfortable. You just toss it on and out the door you go. So I
So
have
what
a
does the
lot.
word mean? What does the word mean, or what do you
Oh
know about the
God.
word?
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably from the Indian, from something in India or Arabic, I would think. Probably
Oh,
Arabic because in Arabian countries they wear a lot of caftans, but I don't
okay.
know.
And that's
Well,
how you
we'll
pronounce it, caftan.
Kaftan. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes spelled with a K, sometimes spelled with a C, but it's the same thing. And
Do
I mean,
men
some people,
and women wear caftans?
yes, they do. They do. Certainly in Morocco and in Saudi Arabia and in other countries like that. In this country, it's pretty much women who are wearing caftans. And people, I think, have an idea of caftans thinking that they're muumuus, like just shapeless. Yeah, you can put
Yeah,
on
a
a
duster.
shapeless thing. Pardon me?
A duster.
Uh, well, no, duster is actually more of a long jacket, but you can certainly put on something shapeless. Those aren't the kind I prefer. I prefer ones that have a little va 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 voom to them, but not much. I mean, just slight, like just slightly hinting that this is a woman's body underneath. So
It's beautiful.
the one I was wearing in the picture you're talking about is silk with little tiny crystals. They're not sequins, they're little tiny crystals all over. It's kind of a pinky gold, and it has a metal bar right under the
Mm.
bust line. And it does have, people will see in the color, it has a kind of sorry, in the picture, it has a kind of black outline Egyptian motif. Anyway, it is, you toss it on and out the door you go. And it's just incredibly beautiful. And it's by a company in Australia run by a woman. The company is called Camilla. I hasten to add that I get these either secondhand on eBay or on sale because they're like crazy expensive. So I
Like,
don't
what does
pay
that
full
mean,
price.
crazy expensive?
Ew, like that one, if I had gotten it full price, would have been $1,000, which I did not pay. I did not
And
pay.
do you wear anything underneath it, or it's just your
That
underwear?
particular one is so low cut that I wear a black bandeau underneath. For somebody who's not busty, you could get away with not wearing anything underneath. But I'm not going to just leave all that cleavage hanging out there. So I wear a black bandeau. But there are other ones I have from that company that I just toss on, also silk, that I don't have to wear anything underneath.
Well, it was just lovely, and, the shoes also with the
Oh,
outfit.
the shoes, and those shoes fell apart that
Oh,
night.
no.
Yeah, they're just, they're really cheap little dance shoes. They're really meant for, they're really cheap. There are expensive dance shoes, but I didn't buy those. I mean, people who are professional dancers, buy the expensive ones. But these are like they would go for one night of dancing, and you're not meant to wear them for weeks at
Yeah.
a time. And these things are years old. So
Well, they
I
look
think I
great with
got,
the dress.
thank you. Yeah, they were like kind of 19, I would say late 20s, early 30s look with a T-strap. Yeah, yeah, Art
Really, but
Deco.
and now on either side of you were 2 men who were either
Yeah.
twins or married. They had identical outfits on, very dapper, dark suits with, like, a bow tie and a silk scarf and a rose on the lapel and, of course, a pocket square, and, I mean, they were, and, I don't know, saddle shoes isn't the right word, but they were like, you know
Oh, spectator pumps. They were spectators.
yeah,
Yes. These
so who
guys, they're
yeah, who
just
was that?
they were two guys who, the gay guys on the ship dressed to the nines. As you can imagine, they look fabulous, and there were a lot of gay guys on the ship. And these were just two of the guys who just looked so beautiful. And I grabbed them and I said, "Can I please take a picture with you because you look so amazing?" And they posed and we took some pictures.
That was
They
fun.
weren't the only ones. I grabbed some other guys, one of whom was a lecturer on board who was also in a tux like those guys with a silk scarf. And the other ones had a beautiful jeweled brooch each of them on the lapel, which is something that straight men won't do, but they look so beautiful. I wish straight men would just, when you wear a tux, put a brooch. Oh my God, it was just so gorgeous.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, since you went there, since you went to somewhat identity politics, not really, but I have to ask you the question because this is what we talk about all the time. Were you pelted with gender ideology while you were on the ship?
No,
Oh,
not
good.
at all. No, 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 none of the above. In fact, some of the older guys like Bob Mackie, who's now 85 or 86, and for people who don't know or they might think it's a familiar name, Bob Mackie designed basically everything Cher has ever worn. Cher and Carol Burnett. Bob Mackie designed
Oh, I
every
didn't know about
single, oh
Cher.
yeah, he all the fabulous stuff that Cher, all the sequins and stuff. Bob Mackie designed all of those. And for
Ah.
the Carol Burnett show back in the 70s, he not only designed all her gowns, he designed every single costume for every single actor in every skit on that show. So
Oh,
we're talking about
wow.
thousands of outfits, including the notorious and hilarious Scarlett O'Hara. Have you seen this when she comes
With the
down the
drapes.
stairs with the drapes? He did that.
That's so fun.
So anyway, when you asked about the whole gender thing, so Bob Mackie and another designer named Michael Bush, who looks like he stepped out of the hollers of West Virginia, but he's designed for some very famous people. They they mentioned it in one conversation, not publicly. It was a private conversation where they said, "What is this transgender bullshit? This makes no sense at all." I mean, these are guys who have dressed beautiful women and dressed handsome men, and they didn't want to have anything to do with it. They thought it was a bunch of baloney.
Well, I think that fashion was complicit for a couple years because there was this whole phase, I'm sure remember, where everything was androgynous and a lot of the models looked, that they were, I think
Heroin,
they were yeah,
heroin chic.
exactly. Whereas I've noticed, like, thank God, that chapter, I think, is behind us, and now we're seeing more traditional. I mean, of course, it's crazy fashion, but it's crazy fashion that's beautiful and not, I don't know, waving the, you know, gender ideology flag.
I think I think androgyny will never go out of style because people would say, for instance, Katharine Hepburn, who looked amazing in very quote unquote masculine suits, they would say that's an androgynous look, but there was no mistaking that Katharine Hepburn was all woman. So I
Right.
think, and same with Tilda Swinton as a modern example. So I think androgyny will never go out of style. Some people really like that look, but nobody with any sense is trying to pretend he or she is the opposite sex just because they wear something that's quote unquote androgynous.
Now, when another picture, that you, sent me was a 4 people, you included, and then 3 other women. You had what I mean, I'm not a fashionista, but if I sort of like the Iron Giant, dress. I
Oh,
don't
the silver
know.
pleated. Oh, right. The silver pleated one that looks like a Mariano Fortuny dress, which it's not. Fortuny was famous. Actually, and his wife did all that, but he got the credit for it. He did all those knife pleats. This is back in the I think it's the 20s. I hope I get my time scale right. Um, these knife pleats, permanent pleated and very flowy dresses. And so I was wearing that. I love that silver pleated one. That's the one you're
How did you
talking
pack
about.
it? How do you pack something like
Oh,
that?
that
Does
thing
it just
doesn't
fold up?
wrinkle. First of
Oh,
all,
great.
the silver pleated one, it's very lightweight and it doesn't wrinkle. And it just doesn't wrinkle. The silk, if you really mush it, it's going to wrinkle. But if the way I pack is with tissue paper and some plastic in between, and you're just careful and you pull it right out, put it on a hanger, and it's the stuff is unwrinkled.
How many outfits I mean, I can't even that just seems overwhelming to me. How many outfits did you have to plan?
Okay, so here's how I pack. I'm inordinately proud of packing light and packing small, and I can do it and still look fabulous. I don't ever pack jeans or shorts or t-shirts or none of that bullshit ever, never, ever. So for the
You never pack
daytime,
jeans?
never,
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 okay. That's a good
never,
tip. I'm gonna
never.
write it down.
That's just not me. I mean, for some people, that's what they look good in. I just prefer dresses and caftans. So I had for the day, I had dresses and cotton caftans, non-silk, for the day. And then for evening, I had fabulous gowns but mostly silk caftans, except for that silver pleated one, which was just polyester. Frankly, that's not silk. And I'm not afraid to wear the same thing twice. In fact, if I don't wear something at least twice on a trip, it doesn't go. I don't take it along. I have to wear it at least twice and preferably more often. So, and I also had to pack thinking of London's going to be cold, Morocco's
Mm.
going to be hot and chilly, both depending on where you are. The ship is fancy. So I had to pack with all of that in mind. And the only concession I make is I shipped back, and I do this every time I take the QM2. I ship back the most formal stuff, like a full length formal gown with white opera gloves, that stuff I ship back. And they have a
When you get to
service.
London.
Yeah, they have a service where you pack it all up, you fill out the customs forms ahead of time, you just put it in the suitcase, you get off the ship, you drop it, and they take it. And
Oh,
they
that's
take it and
nice.
ship it back. So it's great. So you don't have to schlep that stuff for the rest of your journey, right? Because what do I need a formal gown for in Morocco with opera length gloves? I don't need that. So yeah. But my
That's
other
so
stuff, the one you love, the pinky golds that you first described, I wore that in Morocco. That's beautiful. I wore that to dinner, you know.
what was the weather like on the ship? Did you need like a cover of some kind? And if you needed one, what do you wear for a cover when you're so fancy dressed up? Fur? Is fur in?
If well, I have faux fur. I didn't bring it. I have faux fur stoles and coats. I didn't bring them just because I didn't want all that bulk. If you're going to go outside on the deck, you need a coat. I didn't this time because it was November and it was cold. I mean, the North
Yeah.
Atlantic is cold even in the middle of summer. I've taken the ship in the past in May and have walked around the deck, but in November, no, I didn't. So I just didn't bring. The only coat I brought was the coat that I was going to wear in London and in Morocco. It was kind of an all-purpose, pretty floral, feminine raincoat slash windbreaker type fit and flare, full length. Anyway, that's what I brought, but I didn't. Yeah, people do bring, I guess, real furs and fake furs, and the rich people who stay in the suites. Woo! Those
Yeah,
people. I mean,
talk
go
to me
ahead.
about the accommodation
Yes.
itself.
Okay. Here's the thing. In a nutshell, because everyone's thinking, oh, this must be so expensive, which is always what I thought. It's not. Here's your range, depending on what time of year you go and whether it's a theme or not. Like this was themed, so it's slightly more expensive. Theater at sea would be slightly more expensive. But a transatlantic crossing on the QM2, the Queen Mary 2, here's the range to get your cabin, private cabin, from $800 to 40,000 and everything in between. Okay.
Huh.
So usually what my husband and I have done in the past is we like having a balcony because it's just nice to wake up and see the ocean going by. It's just kind of
Mm.
thrilling. And so we spring for that. That's like $1,500 or it depends, or sometimes it's 3,000. It depends on the crossing. But if you want a suite where the rich people go, that's $20,000 to $40,000. We got a chance to see one because you meet people on the ship, you talk to people, you blah blah blah, and it's too long a story. But we met these rich people who
And you got
invited us
invited
for
back to the
happy
suite?
hour. Pardon me?
And you got invited back to the suite?
Yes, it was a
That's fun.
duplex with their own private deck and private pool and 2 stories and as big as some people's houses. And they invited us for happy hour and we said yes. So I got to see one, which I had never seen before. But I stayed in an interior cabin this time. So that means I had no porthole, no window, no balcony, because you have the run of the ship and you got a lot of places on the ship where you can see the water. And since I have had balconies in the past, I just saved some money this time and I was in an interior cabin. But the thing is, you have to think 7 nights, first of all, transportation, right? Transportation, that's number one. 7 nights accommodation in basically a deluxe hotel, whatever that would cost. All your meals, not just 3 meals a day, but whatever you want to eat, and great food. I mean,
Oh,
gourmet
that's
level
good.
food. Lectures, the academic lectures are wonderful. They're about every subject under the sun. I find them fascinating. I love the academic lectures. The entertainment is Juilliard, West End, Broadway. These are high. This is not dinner theater schlock. Okay, this is great. These are great musicians like jazz pianists and jazz trios and classical harpists and pianists. And it's so add that up. Transportation, 7 nights accommodation, all your meals, fantastic entertainment, lectures, like that you would get at a museum, a planetarium. There's a planetarium on board, movies, everything's included in that price that I quoted. Everything is included. The only thing that's not included is alcohol. Because when we first did it, we looked at each other, my husband and I, and said, how are they making money off of us? Because this is a lot that we're getting for the price. It's the alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So when you went to the happy hour in the suite, do you recall what you had to drink?
yes, we had champagne, like
Oh,
good champagne.
very
It
nice.
was either Laurent Perrier or Veuve Clicquot, I forget. And then they had this amazing spread of hors d'oeuvres because they have a private butler up there. The suites all have private butlers. But we were on our way to dinner, so we really didn't. I had one piece of sushi and one little toasted thing with something on it. But the food looked amazing, but we were on our way to dinner, so we did not partake.
Now, the Devil Wears Prada, of course, is coming out, and so there's a lot of, fun around the marketing of, that whole, there's a big,
Yeah.
on-ramp. Did you see any signs of that on the cruise?
No, we saw the movies we saw. Nobody mentioned the Devil Wears Prada. We did see movies that had to do documentaries that had to do with the fashion industry or certain people in the history of fashion. We saw movies about that, documentaries, and also a lot of Q&As with the designers themselves, with Christian Siriano, Bob Mackie, with documentary filmmakers themselves, the directors and producers. Coco Rocha, supermodel, did a pose workshop. So those of us who went, she taught us how to pose.
Oh, that's
It's
great. What are
really
some of the tips?
mostly you're doing. It's really hard actually. I look at these models now with a different eye. Of course, they're beautiful, but you have to do literally hundreds and hundreds of poses per session, but you have to make it so that because the photographer's clicking like constantly. So let's say your feet are planted in one place. You've got to do a bunch of poses different, but don't move your feet because it will change the whole photograph. If he wants to use one, it's hard to explain. Or
Yeah,
let's
no,
say
I
your
see what you mean.
shoulders are a certain way, then you got to do a bunch. You've got to pose and put your head different ways, but keep your shoulders a certain way. I mean, she was amazing and delightful and down to earth. This is what I want to say. There was no snobbery. It's like everybody was mingling with the hoi polloi. They could have eaten your meals you can eat in the fancy schmancy places, and they were staying in suites. They didn't eat with the fancy schmancy people. They ate with us in the Britannia, which is
Down
the
in the
main.
down in the bulk.
Well, it's a beautiful restaurant. It's a gorgeous restaurant, but that's where those of us normal people eat. And they
Yeah.
ate with us there. They did not separate themselves, and they posed with pictures and selfies. They never said no. They were very gracious. It was just fun. It was like
Oh, that's
really
great.
fun.
Was, Trump on board at all? Were people talking about Trump, or were there any
Oh
pictures
God,
of Trump?
no. No. I mean, listen, you can imagine that most of the people going on this kind of journey, most, I'm sure not all, but most of them hate him. And so whenever it came up in conversation with people we met, we all just rolled our eyes and talked about how much we loathed him and then moved on to another subject. There were people from all over the world on the ship. It's a British line. Cunard is a British line, so there's a lot of Brits and a lot of Americans, but there are also Germans and Austrians and Swiss and French and yeah.
So, how many people on board?
This was not full, which amazed me. It was not sold out. I don't know why, but anyway, when it is sold out, about 2,500 passengers and 1,500 staff and crew.
Oh,
But this is a massive, I want to emphasize that this ship is not only big, really big and beautiful and glamorous, it is nothing like those carnival cruise things that people take to the Caribbean. Like it's night and day. These are two completely different animals. It's not like that. You never feel crowded. No one's puking over the side. Nobody's getting drunk. I mean, it's not like that. It's a different experience, which
one of
is
the
why I love
pictures
it.
yeah, one of the pictures that you sent was the model, Coco Rocha,
Rosha, yeah.
and it showed 2 of her kids, and before I knew it was 2 of her kids, I thought, "Oh my god, do they allow kids on this fashion week, QE2?" Was
Oh,
her kids, like, the exception, or were there other kids
no,
there?
no, there always are children. All the times we've taken the QM2, there are always children. Sometimes families are relocating, let's say. Maybe they're going to Europe or vice versa if it's coming from Southampton to New York. They're relocating, or it's just maybe some people hate flying. Maybe it's a pain in the ass. Maybe they're afraid of flying. Maybe they have time. Maybe they have pets. There's a kennel on the 12th deck, fully
Oh,
staffed kennel that fills up. usually 2 years in advance, because people who want to bring their pets or who are moving, relocating, have to bring their pets. So there are always some children. Always, there always are. Yeah, always. Not a lot, because this is like I said, it takes 7 nights. It takes time. So mostly it's an older crowd. Mostly it's retired people, not exclusively, but mostly, because working people in general can't take a whole week to go across the ocean and then tack on another 2 weeks for a vacation. But
So, and then
families,
how did you get back? So you took the QE, excuse
I
me.
flew back from Casablanca. I flew back from
Oh,
Morocco. Yeah. So
that
you can
sounds
take
kind
the
of romantic.
QM2. You can actually take it around the world. Some people live on it. I'm not kidding. You can take the QM2. It goes around the world. So if you want to do that, it's probably less expensive than living in a condo. So
Well, Lisa, on a next show or the next time we have you on, I want to talk a little bit about London and Morocco, but just give us a quick highlights of those two places after you got, disembarked the Queen Mary Fashion
yeah,
Week.
we extended our fashion extravaganza into London. We went to several exhibitions. Cecil Beaton at the National Portrait Gallery, which was beautiful. Marie Antoinette at the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum, and went to Fortnum and Mason, and it did a lot of fashiony things. And then in Morocco, because I've been there several times before, I have my favorite places to go. But I was going with two girlfriends who had not been there before, so we did some things that I've done before, but also some new things for me. For them, it was all new. And it, can I say, it's my happy place. It's my happy place.
Isn't that great? And how was it getting home? How was the reentry after being away for almost 4 weeks?
Um, it's funny, travel. My husband and I talk about this a lot. Travel is so kind of disorienting and fantastical, because 1 minute I'm in Casablanca and 8 hours later I'm in the US, and then an hour and a half later I'm in my home. And it's just freaky. I would think like, oh, last night I was in Chefchaouen, which is called the Blue City, the Blue Pearl of Morocco. Last night I was in Chefchaouen, and now I'm in my home here with my husband and cats. It's freaky, isn't it, travel? Because it's so fast. It's not like 100 years, 200 years ago when you really felt that you were moving, that you were going somewhere, which is another great thing about the QM2. You get this sensation of, I'm really I'm traveling, I'm taking time. And how did people do this 2000 years ago? It blows your mind. It's just such an incredible feat that
I think
humans were able.
and if you're somebody who just is so deep entrenched into news, and it's hard to cut the cord between yourself and the screens and all the bad news. I think the travel is the perfect antidote, because you have to navigate where you're going, what you're going to eat, what it's so healthy. It's
I
really
have to
so
say,
healthy.
I stayed two of the greatest things. There were a lot of great things about this trip, but two of them were I didn't have to cook at all for 3.5 weeks. And I was completely, deliberately disconnected from news. I read nothing. I could have. I mean, they have Wi-Fi on board and blah, blah, blah. And they have Wi-Fi in every place I stayed. I didn't look at any news. I didn't know if or when the government had reopened until girlfriends told me. I didn't look at anything, and I didn't give a shit. I didn't read any news, and I didn't miss anything, frankly, because you come back and you jump right into it and it's the same shit.
I'm curious, when you last question, or almost, when you were in London, did you see any of the trans activism that we are seeing on, you're not on X or Twitter, but you see a lot of stuff going on in England around this issue that you and I are working on together, gender ideology. Did you see any signs of it there?
No. And I was only there for 3 days and 3 nights, and we knew where we were going and what we were going to see, and everything was decorated for Christmas, and we didn't run into any political um, demonstrations or anything like that. No.
Oh, that's nice that you got the decorations. Are you going to write about it? If listeners of this show want to hear more about your trip, do you plan to publish
Uh,
anything on Substack?
no, I wasn't. What I can do, I wasn't planning on doing on that. Now that you say that, I can post an article that I wrote for Style Magazine back in 2014 that explains all about the QM2. I guess I could do that. I could post that or a link to that and put some pictures up. It might be nice tonic. Yeah, it might be a nice tonic from all the
Well, and
development.
you could also put a pen to paper and write you know, a little essay about what Lisa Simeone learned in 2025 about fashion on the Queen
I
Mary 2.
guess. I guess. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that, but I can do that. I can do that.
Well, Lisa Simeone, before I let you go, is there anything else you want to share with the audience about your fabulous travel across the Atlantic Ocean?
I would just say, folks, please investigate it. Just go to cunard.com. It is really not only for the likes of Deborah Carr and Cary Grant. It really is for us normal people, ordinary people. It is affordable. What it does require is time. You need time, but it's really a wonderful experience.
Well, I'm glad to have you back and look forward to having you on the show again. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay. Thanks, Cynthia. Bye bye.